I'd like to call to order our regular meeting of the Utility Service Board. It is August 15th, 2022. Second order of business is to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Do we have a motion for approval?
I'll move.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions about the minutes? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Next up, we have approval of claims of 4 varieties. The first one, the standard invoices totaling $1,126,964.02. Do you have a motion for approval of the standard invoices?
So move.
Second.
Any questions on the standard invoices this evening?
I have a question.
Megan.
Thank you. Okay, on page 1, American Water Works Association, I see that we have several of our staff members who have an individual membership, but it looks like we have a membership for the city utilities as a whole. I was just wondering, is the price of our membership due to the size of our utilities? Is that standard across all utilities? And what all does that encompass? I know you mentioned AWWA in the finance presentation earlier.
Missy, do you know? I'll have to find out why we have both. I'll find out and get back to you on that.
Thank you.
Other questions from the board? I have 2. One on page 8, State of Indiana, fine for violation of call before you dig law. What is the story there?
We had a situation, and James may remember the details of it, Dan as well. We had a situation, this was quite some time ago, where there was a gas main that had been located, but the locate had been exhausted. James can explain it.
So there was a James Hall, T&D. There was a gas main that had been located, and the locates only last for so many days. And this supervisor that had called in the locates went on vacation, and they expired, and the crew went out there a couple days after they expired. And then we end up hitting a gas line out there. And so that's what happened. And so it goes to the Indiana Utility Commission, and so that was a finding there.
Understood.
I think that was, I feel like it was almost last year. Is that right? I think it was June of last year when that happened, if I remember filling out or seeing the thing correctly.
And normally following our standard procedures, that wouldn't happen?
Correct.
Okay.
Typically, we call in and we try to get out there as soon as we can, because I remember talking to someone about it before I signed the requisition to pay this. And they were like, yeah, usually, I make sure that it's called in a second time, or we go back out. Something had happened that we didn't go out during the window that they were good for. And then we went out a few days after, so.
Understood, thank you. And then same page, Trident Insurance Services, looks like also something that happened a while ago. Ice fell on personal vehicle. That's just a final settlement for an incident?
That's right. We had ice, the little clips to keep ice from falling off the roof at Blucher Pool. One of those clips came off, and the ice fell right on one of the operator's vehicle.
Understood, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, next up, we have utility bills totaling $289,917.73. Any questions on the utility bills? Do we have a, let's see, do we have a motion? Oh, do we? Yeah, there's our motion and a second. Thank you. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Next up, we have wire transfers totaling $473,766.18. Do we have a motion for approval?
I'll move.
Any questions on the wire transfers this evening? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? And finally, a whole bunch of customer refunds totaling $8,134.58. Any questions on the customer refunds this evening? Do we have a motion for approval?
I'll
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Next up, approval of the consent agenda totaling $36,425. Vic Kelson.
Good evening, everyone. Vic Kelson, Utilities Director. I'm happy to bring tonight's consent agenda, which only has one item on it, for $36,425. This is item A to Reed and Sons. It's a negative adjustment of $36,425. It's a change order for the Lindbergh Drive water main replacement project. Now, I have some more details on this. We're deducting the remaining balance in the contingency allowance and rock excavation because they didn't need all the contingency and did not have to remove as much rock as they had anticipated in the bid. So this is a reduction in the cost. Is there anyone who would like to consider this item separately? There's only one item on the agenda. If there's no opposition, the consent agenda will be approved as recommended by staff. Hearing no opposition, the consent agenda is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. We always like those types of changes. Next up, we have a bid opening for bar screen replacement at the Monroe Water Treatment Plant intake structure. Dan Hudson.
For the record, I'm Dan Hudson, the Capital Projects Manager for City of Bloomington Utilities, and I'm happy to have 3 bids for the replacement of the bar screens. For your information, one bar screen is completely out of service, and the other one is almost on the way, so this is timely that we're doing this project now. The first opening is Graves Construction Service. At $1,979,797. Did you get that, or want me to do it again? Okay. We have one from Dillman Construction.
What's the name of that? I'm sorry.
Dillman. Want me to spell that to you? Thieneman. And they are $1,554,000. And the third one is from Maddox Construction. And they are $1,573,600. I'll be glad to entertain any questions. Yes.
Do you have an engineering estimate on the project?
I do. Engineering was done by Wessler Engineering, and it's at $1,151,000. 1151000.
Thank you.
So does this mean that you're unlikely to accept any of them and rebid it, or?
This is in the range, I think, of the estimate, not like some other jobs we've had, and I think we're likely to accept one of them. We'll come back next board meeting with our recommendation of the best recommendation.
How old was Wessler's estimate?
Last week,
Okay,
so it's fairly new.
thank you.
Anything else? Okay, all right, thank you.
Next up, we have Phil Peden to bring forth a bid opening for the Fritz Terrace North Addition project.
I'm going to sit here if that's okay.
You bet.
Yeah, so Phil Peden, Engineering Department, and this is our 2021-2022 sewer rehabilitation lining project, and located in the North Fritz Terrace neighborhood. We have 4 bids, so I've got 3 on the list. You'll have to add the 4th one. First one will be inliner. And I want to pause and say that Matt Wilson, one of our utilities technicians, is here this evening to assist. He's worked a lot on this project. I just wanted the board to get a chance to meet him. Inliner's bid is $1,429,768. Again, $1,429,768. They put a tab. Next bid is in situ form, and their total is $1,200,544.30. $1,200,544.30. Next bid is Miller Pipeline, and it's for $1,251,215. $1,251,215. The last bid is from SAK, and it's for $1,172,750. $1,172,750. That concludes the bid opening. I can answer any questions, but we'll take these back and review them and advise the board at the next meeting. Engineer's estimate was $800,000.
Phil, I noticed the way the description is, it includes 120 service laterals. So that's the laterals off the mains to the home?
Yes, so this is a new step for us in the process to eliminate I&I. We usually have just done the main line, but we're going to do 120 of the 287 laterals. We've reviewed those on our video inspections, and we found 120 that look like they need additional rehabilitation, where we're seeing roots and I&I coming in right at that connection.
So that's a neighborhood probably built in the 60s or so. And what were those laterals made of then?
It was all clay tile.
Clay tile.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thanks.
So Phil, you said that a lot of the problems were right at the connection.
Mm-hmm.
And so will we take the lining beyond the connection in any case? I mean, it's my understanding that's the owner's responsibility after the connection, but do we just stop right there, or do we go further, a little further if it needs it, or how's that managed?
A lot of different options when you set these up for bid, and so some utilities take these all the way to the home, but we chose just to do 10 feet. We see it coming out of that stone aggregate is the backfill material along the sewer main. As you line the sewer main, that water doesn't have anywhere to go. It can't get in the main, so it's sitting in that stone along the pipe, and that's just about 2 feet each side. Once you get beyond that, you're in the clay soil, and you don't have as much water. So we felt like if we got 10 feet, we would be well beyond that utility trench where the stone aggregate's carrying all the water underground. It seems to start to go uphill by that point as well. So the word we got back from the contractors was they needed to know a specific distance away from the main to bid it. You couldn't just bid a total linear foot and say, well, we're going to do 2 here and 20 here. So we went with 10.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
That's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you. Let's see, next up, we have item 7, a request for approval of an agreement with Carlos General Services LLC for complete soft wash of all building exteriors at Dillman Wastewater Treatment Plant, not to exceed $35,000. Vic Kelson.
Good evening, Vic Kelson, Director of Utilities, actually serving as Assistant Director of Operations at the moment. At Dillman, it's probably not a surprise. Buildings grow a lot of black mold at wastewater treatment plants, and ours are no exception. We are finishing a large rehabilitation and updating of the plant, and at the same time, we want to get the buildings cleaned and take trees that are ivy and things that are growing off of buildings and get that cleaned up. Just basically sprucing up the place and getting everything cleaned up. So the purpose of this project is for the contractor to handle the things that we can't handle from the ground. We don't want our people going up on lifts, man lifts, and things like that to do pressure washing. We're going to be doing. Our folks will be focused on what they can reach from the ground, and then the contractor will handle anything that requires going up in the air.
Any questions for this item? Please.
I may have missed this in the document, but how often does this need to be completed?
Nobody knows when the last time it was done was, so it's been a long time, I'm sure.
Is this something that you just will do as necessary, or should we get it on a plan?
It'll be done as necessary. I would anticipate it would be perhaps 10 years before someone would engage in this again.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion for approval? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? And next up, we have a request for approval of an agreement with Heflin Industries Incorporated for removal and replacement of 3 pulse boilers at Monroe Water Treatment Plant, not to exceed $74,325. Vic Kelson.
Again, this project is to replace 3 boilers that are located at the Monroe Treatment Plant. They provide all the hot water for heating and other things at the plant, and they're all failing, so it's time to replace them.
Does this include the replacement cost of the boilers themselves?
Yes. They're not very big.
Okay. Any other questions? Do we have a motion for approval? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Next up, request for approval of an agreement with Donahue and Associates for design and bidding services for chemical feed line replacements at Monroe Water Treatment Plant, not to exceed $62,800. Dan Hudson.
For the record, this is Dan Hudson, the Capital Projects Manager for City of Bloomington Utilities. And this project is a follow-up from a technical study that we recently had done, that Donahue did to replace the chemical feed lines. It wasn't really sure how to do the replacement because we didn't want to do a direct replacement. We wanted to do something a little more efficient. The lines really do need to be replaced. They're leaking, and not only is it wasting chemicals and spilling, it's hazardous to the employees too. So we're trying to push this along to get it. And Donahue is asking $62,800 for the design and bid of these replacement lines. I'm open to any question.
What's the estimated cost of the entire project?
I don't have that yet. Cost seems to be escalating daily, and so we kind of wait till the last to get a more firm cost for the bid. So I do not have that at this time.
Design and bid are typically like 10%, 15%?
Yeah, about 10% of the project usually, 10 to 15% design and bid usually.
Unknowns right now.
Yeah, right.
Other questions? Do we have a motion for approval? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. So we are on to old business. Any old business from the board? Any old business from staff?
None.
New business from the board? New business from staff?
None.
Subcommittee reports. We did have a finance subcommittee. Kirk White, please.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to report that Director Kelson provided the proposed 2023 budget, which everyone's had a chance to take a look at earlier. We had a good discussion, plenty of good points raised, and the three members of the subcommittee voted unanimously to send it forward with a recommendation for approval.
So we'll take that as our motion for approval. Do we have any questions for the board? I would just make the comment that we did have 5 of our 6 members that are here in attendance, and the report was well received, and personally, I always enjoy getting the overall summary of everything that we've been doing and are going to do in one concise presentation. It's always good to hear that that presentation.
So yes, I'll move that we approve the 2023 budget as submitted. I'll stop there.
Any questions about the budget? Any comments? All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That is subcommittee reports. Staff reports.
Good evening. I have staff reports. Clearly, the big deal lately has been working on the budget, but there are some other great things. I'd like everyone on the board to meet Matt Havey. Matt is sitting next to me. He is our new Assistant Director for Finance, and he's been getting his feet on the ground now for about a week, and this is his first USB meeting, although I understand you've watched them on the web. I'd also like to introduce James Hall, who is now officially the Assistant Director for Transmission and Distribution, replacing Brandon Prince, and Phil Peden is taking over as Assistant Director for Engineering. So we will be interviewing shortly for the other positions. Beyond that, I'd like to thank everyone for stopping in to see our customer service representatives between the meetings. This is the biggest week of the year for our customer service representatives as the students are moving back in. When I was back there at 8 o'clock this morning, they'd already had calls coming in before 8 o'clock. So it's a really busy time for them. It's our time of year that we try to show our appreciation to our customer service representatives, and they certainly work hard all year round, but especially this time of year. So I know members of the public who might watch this, if you find it takes a little longer to get answers to your questions, that's probably the explanation, but we're doing our very best to get everything handled as quickly as we can. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Vic. Any questions for Vic? All right, next up we have petitions and communications from the public. Anyone or otherwise? All right, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. We are adjourned. Thank you.